What's up, E36 M3 bros and just BMW enthusiasts in general and whoever else is here. Continuing my pursuit of, I don't know what I call it, perfection, but pursuit of awesome. I got a little sidetracked here. I thought that I had to remove the entire window in order to change this trim, but it's actually pretty easy. I'll shoot another video when I do the other side. But today's installment is to do the rear window. I'm gonna try to do it by myself without dropping this on the ground, so hopefully I don't do that. But the window tint has been removed, and we're about to send the car off to get interior done, and so I want to get this trim taken care of and get this all done before they get the door cards perfected. And so I have a few more parts coming, so I can't finish it tonight, but I can at least show you how to take it out, and then we'll cut in this video to later, maybe do a part 2 where we put it back in. I know how to do it now because I already did the passenger side. So I, largely know how to do it, and so we're going to take it apart. I'm just not going to get very good angles for you because it's 6:30 or something on Friday night or something like that, and everybody's gone. But all of this trim, once I get the window out, I'll show you a little closer, but all of this trim is super brittle and disgusting. This piece here isn't bad, but I bought a new one anyway. I'm going to replace it. While I'm in here, I might as well replace it. We're going to polish up in the jam here, so that way when it's time to polish the car overall, that I won't have to get too close to that. So I'm going to polish all this down here, and there's some really nasty adhesive under here that's going to take a few hours to get off. I'll probably do most of that off camera, but let's get dug in here and work through the install or the deinstall the window. So first thing we got to do is take off this bolt. There's a I'll tell you in a second, I think it's a 19 millimeter to take the seat belt off and set that aside, and then we take this pillar off, which is all brittle and ruined from the sun, and luckily I've been able to source new ones. They're in transit from ECS Tuning, so I got one side. I think the passenger, I got the driver's side but not the passenger side, so let me show you why this needs to be replaced. You can see the line from the sun on it. So here's the old one, super brittle, ready to break apart, and then here's a new one. And so I was able to get the driver's side but not the passenger side, and I just found the passenger side new one. So I thought I was going to have to try to salvage these and do some Alcantara on them. We're probably going to end up doing Alcantara lining anyway, but at least I've got some fresh new ones that we're not going to put back in ourselves. My interior company that we're doing, I forget who we're sending it to, we'll tell you that when we get there, but they'll get us fixed up. So believe it or not, this window in the back here is bolted in place, bolted and clamped in place. This is a 16 millimeter. So really pretty simple to get out. Luckily I had Waba here teaching me how to do it since he's done his car. And then the seat belts, unfortunately, are discontinued. So I'm going to be looking at junkyards for them. We're looking for some on eBay or something like that. Because the seat belt's fine, but this, from sun exposure, this little piece is cracked, which stinks. And so what we also may be able to do is do some sort of fabric refinishing to it as well. There's a lot of meltiness to this car. That's what we're going to work on, is demelting it. So step 1, take off this. And we'll set it in the front there so keep it all together. But this piece, you can't see it. Can you see it? You can't. My arm's in the way. So this piece right here is all cracked up and funky. So that's what I'd like to replace. So now, I'm gonna get in the back here. We need to rip this thing out. It does not like it. So, the other side, I broke this lever. Let's see if I can get it off without breaking it. Looks like this one may come out a little easier than the last one. The other thing that might be helpful, yeah, pull that window sill back. And if you were doing just this, I think it's probably better, I just broke it. It's probably better if you take the door cards off. It's hard to get past this spot. Yeah, see, that's the part. Okay, I forgot. So what you do on this little piece here is, so you don't mess it up, you want to take a screwdriver and there's a little tab you want to push up on in order to get it to release without breaking it. So this one I got out, not breaking anything, but I got a whole new set of this stuff anyway. But look at this thing, it's janky as can be. See how brittle, sun bleached, jacked up. And that's the little piece I was talking about here. This little thing. Now, there's two T40s. Oh no, these are T30s. I thought this is a T40. T30. Okay. So there's two. These are two pretty stout bolts. T30 doesn't seem right. It's not. Maybe it was a T40. There are two 10 mils there. I'm gonna need a little Allen. Ouch. It is a T40. I just didn't put it in right. So this is just to take the seatbelt bracket off and get it out of the way. So the hardest thing to find right now, I need to find carpets for this thing. Floor mats, I mean, not carpets. Okay, so the two T40s free up room for the bracket to come out. And we need this bracket to come out because there's a clamp that holds the window together. But before we take that off, we're going to take the back T25 maybe out. Hey Tommy, before you bail, you just hold so I don't drop the window on the ground and can't replace it. So that little plastic thing is coming off.
Okay.
So you have to hold it from spinning. There's a little plastic, little nylon, so that whole thing can come off. Both sides, yep. Yep. Okay, that's the easy part. So let's screw that back together. So that's the smart thing to do, is to that way you'll remember how it goes back together. Let's just put the screw back in here and we'll steam clean that. I wish I had a dry ice machine here. Okay, so what's gonna happen is this part's gonna come out. It just goes, it'll just come out that way. So I'm gonna take some 10mm bolts, but they're really dicey because you don't want to drop them down in the car. So I got a deep well socket that I'm hoping this falls down into. Yeah, got it. There's one. And there's one up top and the window comes out. Got it, okay, window's out. That's it. It's pretty nifty. Normally when you think of windows, you think it's like glued in somehow, you know?
Definitely.
But that's it. So now, I'll get you a close-up, that's all I need, but we can, now the hard part is getting all this crap off.
Oh, the glue.
Yeah, it's a glue mess. So this time, I'm gonna leave this on, I think. So I'm replacing all of this all of this, the inner trim that goes underneath here and this bottom trim gets real nasty. But before I do that, I'm going to gather up all of my parts. It's weird. Some stuff you can easily get, some stuff you can't. So I'm going to keep a nice inventory of it all. I won't be putting it back together tonight, so I doubt I'll even get all this residue off. Okay, so we can get this out of the way. Get all this stuff off my seat. I'm telling you though, this car is freaking beautiful. It's gonna be insane. All right, so I'm almost certain, I'm just gonna push that out of the way. This stuff should be here in a few days. So this piece I have coming. And so I'm just gonna yank it off and start fresh. Yeah, it gets gooey, but I'll pull this off. So I got a new one of these coming as well. I don't really need it, but I think fresh and clean will be better. And then look at this. Stuff just crumbles out. I wish that this one crumbled off, but it's not going to. It has some really stout 3M tape on there. Oh, this is is super brittle and janky. And then obviously this section here is ruined. Disgusting. And then we'll do that inner trim and the whole deal. I don't know what this cost, but it wasn't cheap. I want to say each window, so this piece was like 160, this was another 170, this piece was 30 or 40 bucks, this piece was another 40 or 50 bucks, so you do the math. Not cheap, but oh so worth it. How did I get the other side off so easily? There we go. I don't want to shred this if I can help it. So this entire piece is going to come off. The main purpose, this doesn't 100% need to be replaced. So see, all this is coming off. Got some glue. Well, it's got to be replaced now because I just jacked it up. So that's off. So now I can get in here and clean all this up. Okay, that was the easy part. Now comes the hard part. It would be awesome if I heated this up, if it would pop off with the adhesive, but I don't think I'm that lucky. Nope, I'm not that lucky. See, leaves all the adhesive behind. It's not doing squat. So that's the easy part, pulling that piece of junk off. The hard part is this, which is going to take forever. Let's see if we can get some of it off before. No way around it. It's just going to take hours and lots of work. But I'm going to try to get some chunks of it off. That'll make it easier. It'll make it so that the adhesive remover can attack it. And it won't take me quite as long to get off. Shoot, I'm melting my plastic thing. A little thumbnail. Gotta be careful with this, but this is metal. And I'm not actually contacting the paint. Problem is you're always hitting the adhesive from the window sill. It's both. It's constantly getting all over your hands. It's like anti-seize. I know. You're gonna say 3M eraser wheel. I don't like those things. I've had a couple of them, had a couple of goes with them. I just don't like it. I don't like my odds of blowing through my 1996 paint. All right, so this is certainly going to save me a lot of trouble here. Spent maybe 20 minutes just kind of chopping away at the bulk of this, and then we're going to wipe all the funk off. And then I'm going to use some adhesive remover to finish the job, and then after that we're going to polish. You can see I'm taking off big chunks of it without actually touching the paint. So you would think I'm using this metal substitute for my thumbnail, but it's not actually contacting the paint. So now, before I start rubbing on stuff, I want to clean this up. It'd be so nasty. I'm just gonna use paper towels. That's what you don't want to do. Think about it like I'm always talking about when you're removing bugs from your front bumper. You don't want to, this is just an isopropyl alcohol solution called Carpro Eraser. But like when you're removing bugs, you don't want to be grinding on the bugs while there's a lot of dirt. You want to get the dirt removed, and then you can start working on stuff with a little bit more elbow grease. So I don't want to start banging on this adhesive with all this sand and stuff in here. I also don't want to soak down my interior as well. Maybe I'm destined for restoration. Maybe that's the next level. Buying really nice, stinky old cars and making them not so stinky and old anymore. I don't know what that noise is, but it sounds like a rat. So it looks nasty right now, but it's about to clean up. You'll see. So here we go. Let's see. So I open the door up so the Ulex doesn't kill me. This is Koshchemi Ulex. It will melt pretty much anything off but this. This stuff is gnarly. This adhesive. But I do think I just saved myself a bunch of pain. Just don't want it running down all over my trim. You just want it to get down into the surface, deeper into the surface here. This is fun. I'm going to do it without totally destroying the paint. Big old chunk. Yeah, this is a lot of fun. Like when you're done, it's a lot of fun. Yeah, this is working so much better than the way I did it on the other side. 5 times longer to get off than if you break through that before we start using the adhesive remover. Holy cow, this is pretty good. There's a lot of shop towels. Look at that. Melting right off. So you get the gist of what I'm about to do. I'm going to switch to my hand and just use the gloves here in a minute, because now I'm starting to get down to the paint. And even though this is plastic, I don't really want to cause any deeper scratches if I can help it. Now, you can't see this underneath the trim, but I still don't want it jacked up. Okay, so now take my glove, do this. Make a huge mess. All right, next layer of Ulex. So I'm gonna keep doing that forever. Hey bros, we got some bad news. This has clearly all been repainted. So we were hoping this was just some overspray, but it's all chipping away here. So I'm painting this side of the car. I just want to see what happens if I polish this here. So I think it's a combination of the Ulex is a little bit too strong and a repaint job. So that means I'll probably be putting the window trim in. Yeah, definitely needs to be fixed. So I polished this all with a 1-inch. And it's just jacked. This whole fender's just freaking jacked up. But that's how you take the window out, and that's how you clean it up. And yeah, so they just taped up to the edge of the window trim and just painted it, because you can see it. It's like flaking off the edge here. Part of it is because yeah, you can see the paint line right there. And that's why this fender looks kind of janky. But that means, and there's a tape line right here, that means that this whole section, if we get it repainted, will look real nice when it's done. So anyway, I'll come back to you next week. For you, it'll be instantly, on how to set all this up, put it back together. All right, bros. This is many months later. Probably my face looks a little skinnier. I'm down about 15 pounds since the first time I took this window out when it went off to paint. So I have all the trim pieces. This wasn't part of the plan. This was a many $100 piece of trim that is rather complicated to get on. And so the lessons we've learned, we did the passenger side already, is you want to start on this end, and we need to leave a decent size, enough gap. We're going to test fit it here with our bottom piece. The bottom piece needs enough room in order to butt all the way up against the edge, because if it doesn't, then your driver's door piece will hit the rear window piece. But this needs to go in first. We learned that lesson. We tried on many different combinations, but we have to put this piece on first, and I'll show you the second and third pieces and stuff like that. So once you get it started here in the corner, you gotta make sure that you've got enough room, but you want it to be tight, but not too tight. Actually, what I should do is lay that piece down first, and then that'll give us a guide on where to put this. So you can see how this piece works here. So this sits here, and then your little triangle kind of butts up into there, like so. And so what I want to do is kind of use this. I don't want it so tight. It causes it to warp. But I think that's about what I want. And then you really got to work at this all the way through. All starts right here. I almost want to just leave it on there like that. So I think this is the way to go. You want to get it fit like this. Now let's make sure we can get it out. Okay, so we got enough slack to get it out and put it back in. but you've got to kind of fight for this. It should, like, you'll think that it's popped in place, but it's not. And you have to kind of squeeze it into the groove. And the other lesson we learned, because you would think that you want to put the interior rubber in first, but you don't, because it won't fit. So this has to go in. We have to put this trim piece on first, and then you just have to frickin' manhandle it. Now, you'll notice there's a pretty significant transition here from a really tight groove. So this is nice and tight, to a little bit bigger drip rail here, if that's what you want to call that, or transition from the windowsill. And so there will be a bigger gap once you get to this curve. So if you have the window trim in, it won't fit. It'll get started, but it won't go all the way in. So now this is where we need to pull down. Separated the passenger side. Now this one's separated too. And it goes a little further in than you think. So you got to get it to go all the way. And it gets a little tricky here at the end. You have to, how the heck did I get that in last time? So there's a little lip there, so you want to leave it off so we have enough room to turn it, but the fender's a little tighter on this side than it is on the other. Oh, I figured it out. Shoot. This was blocking us. Ah, crap, though. Shoot, look what it did. Okay, now we got to put the door trim back together. And we have to do both the driver's side, or both the front door and the rear window. So this is a pain in the butt. So that's a major lesson learned, is that you got to make sure that there's no other trim in the way or it'll block you. That took us half an hour on the other side to figure out that you got to pull this out of the way. Because once you pull this little piece out, then it has room to go. So put this in next. So we've kind of started our interior piece, but this has to go in first. This just kind of sits up in the channel. It doesn't really snap into place. It wants to back out. Shoot. It's got to go in first. When the window's in, this little piece here it kind of disappears. It's important for this whole seal, and it's the thing that goes brittle soonest, but it makes a big difference when you get it done right. Okay. Now, what we want to do, I think this is going to work, where I've got it started here and here, but I'm going to leave a little loop-de-loo here. I'm going to try to shoot the middle here, getting this back part on. I think I need a little bit more. Okay, now, theoretically, we should be able to push it. Nope. This will go in, so I need more. So that means we need more to go this way. Close. think we got it. So that's the secret. You have to get this centered. And so you want to get the corners in. So you want to push out in the middle, get the corners in, then push the middle in. Same thing here. I want to get corners in, have enough slack poking up here, but I need to have equal slack on the top and bottom roughly. Otherwise you can't, it'll just want to push out of the window. So I think, what do you think? Does it make sense for this to go outside of that? Yeah, because of how it does it here. So that tucks inside. And the window pulls all this together. Good to go. Let's put this piece on, but first let's clean it with some alcohol. This is 91% isopropyl alcohol. Just so I get this nice stickiness. All those fingerprints off there that I just put on there. Now, you got this 3M tape, which will pull this little corner back like this, just enough so we can get it. Kind of gets in the way here, so you kind of just have to commit. Yeah, that does look good. Okay, so now this is where it gets tricky. We want to keep I need to push this in a lot more. We want to keep a consistent straight line all the way down here. But you got to be careful, make sure you keep the back one in front of the front tape. Otherwise you're going to end up in trouble. This one's coming off way better than the last one. Make us look smart. Keeping our line nice and straight. Okay. Boom. Look at how clean that looks. Nice, fresh. It's like brand new. Now we put the window in. Okay, we got to modify the window a little bit here first. All right, so here's the factory window, and there's a factory little piece here. It's held on by some 3M tape. This is kind of a futile exercise here, but it is the new one. There's a little less sheen to it, so we're going to go through the effort of doing it. And so what I need to do, I have to pry this thing off, and then we have a bunch of adhesive that we're going to have to pull off. So I got all that off. Now I'm going to sit here with some Tarex because I don't have my dry ice machine up and running yet, and I don't have well, I have my dry ice machine, but I don't have the dry ice. And I got to get that little eraser wheel thing that he has. But I'm going to just work this off with some Tarex and my thumbnail. Maybe some Ulex if I want to stink everybody out of here. Okay, so the window, I got all the adhesive off, so you saw me peel the old one back. This is the new piece, and I'm going to go over to the bench here. I don't know if I really need to show you this, but I'm just going to peel off the 3M tape and just stick this new piece on here, lining it up on the top and bottom. And then I'm going to wipe the entire window down so that way all these edges are all cleaned up. We're going to put some gloves on, and then we're going to reinstall the window. Okay, pop this sucker in here. Oh, I was worried about cleaning all that, but you can't see it because it's behind the black top matrix. Look at how good that looks. It's freaking beautiful. All right, that's a bunch of parts, pretty big process, but I think it's super worth the results. This is gonna have to kind of settle in here. It'll settle under the window, but this is OE fresh, nice, clean, neat, a really necessary upgrade. I'll probably still do the inner door jam seals because they're starting to get kind of rotty and split, and so I'll probably end up buying those as well. But next step on this car will probably be some of the power steering and cooling system and stuff like that. But we're working through all these little minute details to get it to OG spec. Anyway, thanks for watching this one. See you on the next E36 video. Lots more coming. See you soon.